So there's a Buddhist principle, a concept that I really relate to, and it's uh, it's called getting hooked, being hooked. So my definition of being hooked is anything that pulls you out of the here and now, throws you into a very slippery well where you are now swimming in your own shit. And by shit, I mean cognitive distortions. When something happens in just daily life where your emotions are hijacked and you are future tripping or you're catastrophizing or jumping to conclusions, and the entire day you have anxiety and you're worried. And I don't know about you, but like half of my life has been this: waking up and going about my day and getting hooked, right? And I think being aware of what hooks you, and then the actual practice. And I think this is where most people drop the ball, because we are aware, or it's not hard to be aware of what hooks us, but it's the actual practice of not getting hooked, dodging this shit. This is what's hard. This is what's important. Most people don't practice this. So let me give you an example. And also the reason why getting hooked is so powerful is it's not like some big event has to happen to hook us, right? It's just, it happens over time in just the daily, ups and downs of life. And it's like that idea that a leaky faucet can drain you. And just because something big doesn't happen, like, you don't have to get fired or broken up with or anything like that to be hooked. It could just be something as simple as opening your inbox. When I sit in front of the computer, I've got the panic and dread when I open my inbox. I have to prepare myself because there's going to be 100 messages, and there's going to be fires to put out. There's going to be all this stuff, and it's like, oh. And so before I sit down, I kind of prepare myself. I take a breath, and I'm going into the trenches. I grab my machete, and then I start plowing through the emails. If I don't prepare myself, I start getting hooked, meaning something in the emails will be triggering, or will bring something up, maybe what someone says or wants, and then suddenly I'm in my head and I'm thinking about, I'm creating stories in my head that may not be true, right? Or something in an email evokes emotion, and I allow that emotion to hijack me. Whenever you are hijacked by your emotion or your cognitive distortions, and you are thrown into a whirlwind of either the future, the past, what ifs, like all of that, and you start spinning, and it's very hard for you to be present, you are officially hooked. And most people live their lives like this. I know for me, this was like every day of my life in my my late 20s and 30s. And what happens is, when you are hooked, you're now living in a state of panic, fight or flight, even if it's subtle, right? And this state puts you into a lower frequency where now you're on edge. Now you have anxiety. You're not able to, be creative. You're not enjoying your day. You're not out seeking nectar. You're not connecting deeply because you're not present, right? And so many days of this, many weeks of this, many months of this starts to gray you out. And it's like a fish swimming in her own shit, and no one's gonna clean this fishbowl except you. So what do you do when you're going about your day? Be aware of what hooks you. Make being in a calm, non-panicky state a non-negotiable. This is not something you're willing to negotiate, right? Because you know what happens when you get hooked. And not only does it ruin your day, but it fucks up it ripples outward into everyone else that's around you, right? So you're it not only impacts your day, but the people that you love and care about that's around you. So make it a non-negotiable that you're not gonna be hooked. And so be aware of what hooks you, what hijacks you emotionally, or mentally, right? Who is it? A person? Is it an email? Is it, like I just said? Is it social media? Right? Is it television? What hooks you? Advertising? I don't know. And then be aware of when you are hooked, and be aware of when you are becoming hijacked. And you got to, it's going to be different for everyone, but you got to do what you can to not be hijacked. Talk yourself off the ledge. Put on your detective hat and convince yourself that until you have facts, what you feel or what you're thinking probably isn't truth. It's residue from a lot of unhealthy patterns. One of the things that I think many of us do, me included, is we jump to conclusions. If I text you and you don't text me back in 5 seconds, I think you hate me. And so I've learned, and it's like, I will always get the text back saying, oh, I was taking a shit, or, oh, I'm sorry, I was out of town. And yet, it happens thousands of times, and still I get hooked, and still I'm like, oh, did I say something? Is something wrong? Does a person no longer want to be my friend, right? And so it's being aware of what hooks you, noticing the pattern, and then figuring out what it takes for you to come back into a calm, non-panicky fight or flight state. That is your non-negotiable. How you do it is on you. So for me, it's like taking a workout class, and maybe it's breath, maybe it's coffee. Let me have a sip real quick because I'm getting hooked. Thinking too much. Maybe it's a motorcycle ride. Maybe it's some alone time with your partner or child, or maybe it's journaling. I don't know. But we got to make an effort, because as the day unfolds, life is gonna throw shit at you constantly. Like I just imagined riding a bike when I was 10, and all the bullies throwing like broomsticks and shit into the spokes of your tires so you could flip over the handlebars. Well, you are on your bike, and life is the bully in the neighborhood that's trying to throw broomsticks into your spokes. So be aware of when you are hooked, when you drop into your body and notice when you feel the fight or flight. And then instead of reacting to it, take a breath and tell yourself a different story. Maybe what you're thinking isn't true, which is probably true. Maybe what you're feeling, your feelings are valid, but maybe what you're feeling is a knee-jerk from your story and previous patterns, but not actually what's happening now. So being more of a detective, questioning, not jumping to conclusions until you have facts. And I think the practice of this daily will keep you dodging those broomsticks as you pedal your bike, and you'll get better at this the more you do it. A lot of times we get hooked and we start doing shit that we regret, right? We're reactive, we're mean, we say things that we regret because in the moment we have so much anxiety and panic. It's just our natural knee jerk, is to pull up a shield, like to either basically to flee or fight. And we got to stay out of that. It's a lower frequency. And then ultimately, if you do it long enough, and this is kind of the turning point, your body starts to believe that it's okay. Your body starts to believe that it's okay, that life is good, that no one's leaving, the sky's not falling, you're not going to be homeless, you're not going to die, right? And it's this convincing, not your mind, but your body. It's conditioning your body. This is your new life. It's not the same as before. And the way that you convince your body is to give yourself that experience, that calm, by not getting hooked. That's another thing that I've been reminding myself to do, is take a breath, take a breath. I think we forget to breathe. Especially if you're like me, you're a chest breather. Throw in the speed bumps throughout the day so you could breathe. Instead of thinking all day, see if you can use your body as a radar to notice when you have the panic or anxiety, and then to address it, to listen to your body, address it. And the more you practice that, I think the less you'll get hooked, the more you will connect to yourself, the more grounded you'll be, and then you'll be living on a higher frequency, and then you'll create the space to be creative, hit flow states, practice gratitude, compassion, be present, right? All that stuff that makes you more potent, more effective, and your life just more in color. When you're hooked, your life is black and white. And I think that's where you start attracting, and I think that's where you start meeting the people you're supposed to meet, and seeing things and opportunities that you can't see when you're in a fight or flight panicky state, right? And it's not like if you're, when I say attracting, I'm not talking about just like great things happen because you're on that wavelength. You're able to be more, you're able to see more because you're not in that fight or flight. I got to protect myself or I'm going to die state. You're expanding, you're open, you are accepting, and you're wide, right? When you're panicking, you're narrow, you're not able to see opportunities. Your energy is one where you're taking instead of giving, You're a rock instead of a prism. Okay, thank you for listening. Oh, by the way, I want to drop something for you. I do these little golden wrappers. Korean Willy Wonka. That's who I am. Okay, never mind. Golden wrapper today. Discount code join us. Remember that lowercase discount code join us. If you go to tatlab.com, you can jump into the lab live Zoom wellness classes. Speaking of raising your frequency, don't do it alone. Come ride with us and have our community help you. So we have got classes on everything from relationships, codependency, trauma, redefining trauma, tarot cards. We've got tapping classes coming, not tap dancing. Tapping, it's a process. It's a concept. Okay. I run a class called Dissolving Your False Beliefs. Anyway, there's lots of classes, breath work. So you could jump in for unlimited for $20 for your first month with that discount code. Join us, and I will see you in the lab. Thank you for listening. Be well.